Show with Blake Sloan. Blake Sloan, one of the top real estate agents not only on the Grand Strand, but in the world. He's been featured in Forbes magazine, the Wall Street Journal, NBC, and many other publications. And now, the Expert Advantage Real Estate Show with Blake Sloan. We'll be talking to Blake Sloan coming up in mere seconds. He's got lots of great new information for you this week, so stay right where you are. But after you hear the show, you're going to say, hey, I want to get in touch with this guy. Easy to do. Here's the contact information for Blake at Sloan Realty Group. Again, it's Sloan Realty Group. Give him a call at 843-808-SOLD. That's 843-808-SOLD. You can also go online to blakesloan.com, blakesloan.com. We'll repeat that contact info once over the next 30 minutes. In the meantime, let's get started. Here's Blake Sloan.
Good morning, everyone. Got an awesome show. Tons of great information. The market is still absolute craziness. We just had one of the biggest weeks ever under contract. Since been tracking this 898 properties under contract the last 7 days for our entire MLS. $253 million in properties sold went under contract at least. So all kind of great stuff. We'll get into the market numbers for anyone that missed last week's overall, macro market update. Interesting though. We'll talk about this. We're going to talk about, is the market about to crash, right? That's a question we're getting a lot. And check this out. Google just came out and said that the Google searches for that question, is the real estate market about to crash, is up 2,400%, which is insane, right? So we'll talk about what that means and kind of some data behind that. Have some great articles and stuff that back up, some possibilities there. Definitely something to keep in mind for sure. Huge news, obviously, in the capital gains world, where there's some leak this past week about massive eye-popping increase in regards to capital gains, and so how that could affect you and your property is something we want to talk about as well. And obviously, we have tons and tons of success stories. This is the 57th straight edition of just pushing hard through the whole COVID chaos. We're getting a little bit back to some normalcy, at least in life. But the one thing that's crazy right now is real estate and inventory. We're still having an inventory crisis, an all-time low of inventory. We've been able to craft some amazing strategies that we've been using to help make sure that we position our seller the right way in the marketplace to get the absolute most money. We've been testing, obviously a nerd for numbers. I talk about all the time. We know exactly what day to make sure we can take it active, how the strategy works. We overlay that with 2 different open houses to maximize basically an auction effect for the property, drive up to get our clients, aka the seller, the most amount of money, which is obviously doing our job. So we're seeing what's happening though multiple times. This past week, we had other agents where they left money on the table for their client by just not knowing what's going on, right? Average agent sells 4 homes a year. They're not really in tune with how fast this pace is going, and they're making small mistakes that are costing clients big money. And so I'm seeing that all the time with other competitors out there. We'll talk about what we're doing and how we're doing that as well. And one thing too is interesting, we'll talk about if we have time, is a multi-generational homes, meaning that multiple generations of homes of parents and kids and grandkids living under the same roof is at a 9-year high. And some of the things it talks about is about how they're pooling that money together to get larger homes in more suburban areas to be able to do so. And so we'll talk about that, some amazing success stories, and we'll dig into what's happening in the spring market.
We got a lot to get to, and hopefully we'll be able to jam it all in here. But here's the thing. If you're just tuning in for the very first time and you don't know who Blake Sloan is, he's been called the real estate whiz kid, featured in Forbes magazine, Wall Street Journal, Realtor magazine, and other national publications. Maybe you've seen him on TV with NBC or The Morning Show with Fox and Friends. The endorsements you hear on this very radio station from Sean Hannity, from Glenn Beck, from Barbara Corcoran, Gary LaVox, put them all together, it's unprecedented. Now, something else that's unprecedented is the trademark systems that Blake has for both home buyers and home sellers. Can't give you all the details on the air because they're trademarked and they're a secret. However, he's more than happy to tell you the most important part of that system.
Yes, and again, like I said, this is something I made sure a promise to myself that we will talk about every single week on the show because it's just simply that important. And in reality, it's way more important right now than it's ever been in any time of us doing this show. And so 5-6 years ago, we've been doing this show 10 years, I think, but 5-6 years ago, it was a big deal, but it's not near as big deal as right now, because before an agent could get away with just putting a sign out and just doing the average things, right? But right now, if that's done, an agent just goes through the motions and is not really in tune with what's happening. We're seeing it cost sellers $30,000, $40,000 in essence to what they could get of their hard-earned equity. And so the reality is the single most important variable that determines your failure or success as a home seller comes down to one thing only. That thing is the agent you choose, period. Not the wall color, right? Not the grass. It has to do with how the agent executes. And why that is, in selling a property, there's 118 different variables from A to Z. If each one is handled correctly, guess what that does? Puts money in your pocket, property gets sold. Anything's handled incorrectly, AKA they drop the ball. And that could be anything from the quality of the photos, the order of the photos. Right now, the day of the week in which they list your property. How long do they actually get back to, and have you be able to get back to first and second offers? Do they do a multiple offer, highest and best round? There's all these things that make a difference right now. That's going to make or break how much money goes in your pocket. And so what we did and what made us different is we said, look, there's got to be a better way. And so years ago, we started out and reverse engineered every single variable point. That's how we know it's 118. And so what we did is create a system that's proven repeatable, uses people and technology and obviously software to make sure we can manage each and every one of those variables to create maximum leverage for our client. So at the end, when you stack those dominoes up, what happens is it gives our client a huge competitive advantage. And that's how you sell homes faster and for more money. And so the reality is what most agents do is they do the 3 Ps. 1, they promise the world to get the listing from you. 2, they put it into the MLS. And 3, they just pray that someone else brings a buyer. And meanwhile, they're down the street, getting the next listing. And so anybody can probably sell something right now. The question is, are you getting the maximum amount of equity? And I see it every single week in the business. People costing them sellers $30,000, $40,000 in how their strategy works. And so right now, with the intensity and the pace of the market, you want to make sure you have a system that's proven repeatable, create maximum leverage. For us, we have that. Like Dave mentioned, I designed it. We trademarked that. It's called the guaranteed system, guaranteed sold system. Only proven system sells twice as fast and for up to 20% more money than traditional methods. And it works very, very, very well. On the flip side, there's the same challenge for buyers, especially right now in the current market. You need somebody who's very good, who can navigate, who can advise you, and who can flat out tell you the truth to make sure that you're getting the property you want at the best price. And so for that, we have our unfair advantage home buying system. Get your priority access to foreclosures, distress sales, desperate sellers, the absolute best negotiation and purchase price, as well as through home inspection to everything else, all the way to the closing table. Deals are crazy right now, and you need somebody who knows what they're doing, who is in this, I gotta say, the trenches all day, every day to make a big difference. And the reality is what we've seen is a lot of agents just going to tell you what they want, what you want to hear. And they're not going to have the tough conversations, the real conversations. Most agents out there are just simply out there for a commission check and one single deal, hoping they can get something done and popped, and not realizing that if they're not in tune and have a system in place, they can cost you $30,000, $40,000 of your hard-earned equity that you spent years trying to accumulate. You owe it to yourself to reach out to the absolute best who have a system and ask the right questions to make sure that you can create that leverage for yourself. And so if you want to know more, if you have a friend or relative, anybody, share with them how important it is right now with the market being so hot that they can maximize their equity. If you're an amateur trying this yourself, you will get absolutely run over. There's people that are even new agents, and we've had that happen. We're having to make sure any new agent, they're running everything through us because there's just so much to the timelines, to how you handle everything, that you can make or break the money for your clients. So if you want to know more about that, reach out, call me, 843-808-SOLD.
Sounds good. Coming up in just 1 second, we got more great show coming your way. This week, we're going to be talking about what's happening in this real estate market, because I know you want to know what the Myrtle Beach market is doing. In addition to that, the mortgage rates, where are they? Going up, going down? Is that going to save you money? Going to cost you money? We'll find out more about that coming up in just a second. Get in touch with Blake at his office at Sloan Realty Group. The phone number is 843-808-SOLD, 843-808-SOLD, or go online to blakesloan.com, blakesloan.com.
Hey, if you are in the market to make the most money for your home, Sean Hannity here with some important advice. Now, look, I'm an active investor. I have bought and sold a lot of properties in hot, cold, moderate markets. And one of the lessons I have learned is this: hire the agent that knows how to create the most demand for your home. Now, if I needed to create demand in this market, no question, there's only one real estate agent I trust if I needed to sell my home. I'm talking about Blake Sloan of Sloan Realty Group. Now, he services the entire Myrtle Beach area, attracts hundreds of buyers every week, and sells a home on average every 24 hours. Now, that helps you generate multiple offers and sell your home for the most money possible. Plus, it's like getting an immediate offer on your home, because if your home doesn't sell for the price and the deadline you agree to, you will have it bought for cash, and he offers flexible fees. Find out how much demand your home can command right now. Call the agent that creates the most demand. Call Blake Sloan today at 808-SOLD. That's 808-SOLD. Or online at blakesloan.com. That's blakesloan.com.
Hi, I'm Barbara Corcoran. To sell your home on time for the most money, you need a sharp agent with a marketing strategy location that creates the most demand. Bottom line, you need a partner willing to put their own money on the line for you. In Myrtle Beach, I would hire Blake Sloan. His international marketing creates so much demand that if your home doesn't sell at a price and deadline you agreed to, Blake will buy it. Partner with the agent I trust. Go online or call and get your home sold.
As they say, get in touch with Blake Sloan at Sloan Realty Group. Sloan Realty Group. Call 843-808-SOLD or go online to blakesloan.com. Coming up in just a second, we'll find out what's happening as far as your mortgage rates are concerned. But as Blake said at the top of the show, it's just been a wild ride, and it's still on its way up. It looks like it's just amazing what's happening.
Absolute craziness. I mean, we're just seeing so much money being pumped in here into our marketplace from up north out of the area. Obviously, because we check proof of funds and just millions and millions and millions of dollars. You know, I just had somebody this week. We asked for proof of funds. They bought like $175,000 house from us. They gave us a cash deal. They gave us, you know, basically their proof of their funds, which is just one of their accounts, Capital One bank account, right? $1 million cash in it. And they're buying a house here. Just parking that cash, be a second home they're going to have. And so there's just so much money coming from out of town, specifically the Northeast. And so thankfully, we've been tapped into that market for about, I don't know, let's say 14, 15 years. When I first got in the business, all the old school agents made fun of me and called me the internet kid because I was all about the internet. We did pay-per-click, and I noticed something I'll never forget. I was with my mom. We were a team back then, and we were at this, you know, big box brokerage, and I was sitting in our little office, and I'm thinking, man, everyone that really sees value in what we have, you know, aka the affordability, is from up north. Like, they're selling their stuff up there for double, triple the price, coming down here, buying what we have, and they're loving it. The people that are from here, I'm having to fight with them and you know, justify value. And so I started targeting them online years ago. Basic, you call it, you know, basic geographic targeting based on what their IP address is. And we're able to really serve ads to them and been doing that for a long time. And what happened was, as everyone started going to the internet and everyone had smartphones and iPhones, and grandparents started getting iPhones so they could see and talk to their grandchildren everywhere else. Well, all of a sudden they started going to Google more, and we were dominating that area. And so that's why we have so many buyers from across the country. And so the reality is, we're just watching that, and I'm checking all these deals that we have, and we're seeing just hundreds of millions of dollars pump into our marketplace from up north and other areas where they're seeing value in what we have. And so we're almost in that perfect storm. We want to take advantage of while you're seeing that, you know, migration in a way, or at least that migration of money in a way, both relocation, also into second homes, which is very, very good. And I will say it's much different than when I was in the market in 2005, when it was much more speculation. Everyone we're seeing now is really angry. They're moving away. They're wanting to be here. They're wanting to have a better cost of living. They can work remotely now. So there's a lot different dynamics behind that, which is great news for us in the long term. And I also think that we're kind of in that perfect storm, being the halfway point to Florida, right? Got great weather. There's a much more affordability. And so those are things that we're seeing and hearing from these clients. But long story short, in looking at last week's numbers for the past 2 weeks, we've been telling you what goes under contract every 7 days, right? So right now, the MLS, the last 7 days, 898 properties went under contract in the last 7 days, which is huge. $253,556,669. And so massive amounts of properties going under contract. That's one of the largest weeks we've ever seen it since we started tracking during the first week of COVID, which is 57 weeks ago. And so obviously we're coming to that spring market. That's something that's important. We're seeing large multi-million dollar properties go under contract within minutes. This past week, there's one in Myrtle Beach on the Ocean Boulevard listed under contract in 45 minutes, over $3 million. So that's what you're seeing right now, that type of influx of money. And so you probably might want to strike while that iron's hot if you're thinking about it. Into those, again, those numbers right there I just shared, those are the ones that just went under contract, meaning they'll close probably 30 to 45 and sometimes 60 days later. And so we'll be talking about those as close numbers probably next month. But really quick review for anyone that missed last week's show. We always want to help you keep a pulse of what's happening, what's going on, so you can make good decisions in regards to real estate and some of your largest assets. So last month, single family home sales, huge jump from the same time last year, up 53.4% from the same time last year, which is great news. Massive increase in that regard. Into sales price, median sales price up 19.9% last month alone, right now at $285,000, which is great. The average sale price is also up It's actually loading my computer's real time, and it just says crunching the numbers, so I don't have that pulled up. But it's pretty much around the same, right around that 19%. In some cases, last week it was at 21% overall for average sale price. Those are pretty close between average and median. The good news is the average price is $358,186, which is awesome news. If you look back, just an example here, if you looked at the average sale price in January of 2019, not that long ago, compared to right now, back then it was 253,742. Right now it's 358,186. So $100,000 plus jump there in average sale price, which is great news for home sellers because that means you have a lot more equity than you think you do in many cases. Right now, the number one biggest story everybody's talking about is inventory. We're in a huge inventory crisis. Inventory down 76.1% from the same time last year, which is huge. Only 1.1 months of inventory. And what that equates to is thousands of less properties available than there was the same time last year, right? A healthy market is what we call 6 months inventory, meaning it's pretty balanced. Anything below 6 months means the seller has the advantage. And right now it's at 1.1 months, which is the lowest I've ever seen it since we've had the technology to track it. And so the reality is we're like this across the country. And so definitely take advantage of that if you're a home seller. That's something that's important. The one thing, though, we've been looking at is the showings per listing, which is buyer traffic. That's up 170% from the same time last year. Huge numbers right now we're seeing. And what that means is there's just that many more buyers that are in town looking at properties. And if you watch the graph, even going back here on a 5-year graph, there's nothing even close to it in regards to the amount of showings per listing right now, which means there's just a ton of buyers. We're getting properties with offers within minutes, literally minutes. And so that's just something because there's just so many buyers right now looking to be here in that regard. And what we find is a lot of the single family inventory where people were going to buy, let's say a $200,000 or $300,000 house, are now being priced out of that. So now they're moving over towards condos. And so guess what else is smoking hot right now? Condo sales. And so condo sales last month alone, huge jump, 70% increase, 70.6% increase in regards to condo sales from the same time last year, which is awesome. Sales price also up, which is great. Sales price for average price in condos up 18.2% at $189,885, and also for median price up 12.6% at $156,000. They're seeing the same problem there. Less inventory, 66.7% decrease in inventory at 1.9 months. Both those are record lows. And the reality is there's just massive amounts of people. I've been in this business almost 20 years, and I've grown up in the business. My mom, dad, aunt, uncle, grandpa, grandma, entire family. I've never seen anything like it like we are right now. And so definitely take advantage of it. Again, we're not sure how long that'll last. We'll talk about that here in a few minutes, but that's just something we're seeing happen. One of the things that's obviously a catalyst for that has been interest rates. Interest rates were back up. We had a couple of bad months there where they were up. They were still pretty close to the record lows, but last week's show was a 3.16%, which is great news because just 2 weeks ago, it was 3.30%. Right now, for a 30-year fixed rate, 3.14%, which is amazing news. A 15-year fixed rate, 2.60%. An FHA loan right now is 2.62%. A jumbo loan, 3.25%. And a 5-year adjustable rate mortgage right now is 2.50%. And so right now, amazing opportunity. Rates are back down low. Obviously, there's a little bit of chaos in the stock market this past week, which obviously helps the bond market, which helps interest rates. And so if you've been on the sidelines, been thinking about locking in, you may want to take advantage of that, which will allow you to get a much better rate and payment. But if you're a seller, guess what? That means more buyers jump off the sidelines into the game. And so you want to time that and tee that up correctly. But we'll talk more about that after this next break.
All right, sounds good. We got a lot of stuff coming your way, and after this, we'll be talking about what's going on as far as the hot buyers alert is concerned. A lot of things going on. How many people are out there looking for homes in the Myrtle Beach area? It's an amazing, crazy amount. We'll tell you about that. And we got some success stories. We got a lot of great stuff coming your way. Stay right there. But get in touch with Blake because he's been telling about called Sloan Realty Group. Sloan Realty Group. The phone number is 843-808-SOLD. 843-808-SOLD. You can also go online to blakesloan.com. blakesloan.com.
Hey, Myrtle Beach, it's Gary LaVox, lead singer of Rascal Flatts. When I'm Moving On won the award for ACM Song of the Year, it struck a chord with folks who understand the challenges that come with life's big changes. For many,
You have
that
about
happens when it comes time to sell their home.
7.5 minutes.
Perfect. Okay, we'll do the hot buyers, and then I'll just jump into part of that Google number.
Okay.
All right, cool.
Let you out of the contract if you're not happy with their service. That's why in Myrtle Beach, I can tell you that Blake Sloan of Sloan Realty Group markets your home on a whole different level. Now listen, Blake is so confident in his ability to sell your home quickly and for more money that he guarantees to sell it or he'll buy it himself. If you're moving on, trust Blake to provide your family a stress-free home sale experience. Find Blake Sloan online at blakesloan.com or you can call him at 843-808-SOLD. Start packing.
It's the Expert Advantage Real Estate Show along with Blake Sloan. Coming up in just a second, we'll find out what's going on as far as some great success stories. But right now, it's time for your Hot Buyers Alert. That's right, Blake and his team working with just a huge amount of home buyers who are looking for homes in the Myrtle Beach area, anywhere in the range from $150,000 to $3.5 million. So if you're in that range and thinking of selling, call that number we've been trying to beat into your head, 843-808-SOLD. How many people are looking for homes? We got over 61,000 now, Blake. We're at 61,143 is the last number that I saw of active home buyers on your website looking for homes, not just once a week, but probably once an hour.
Yes, like stalking on the site, real time. And like Dave mentioned, these are separate people. 61,143 active buyers that have a username, password, account. And so they're searching for properties. The problem is in our entire MLS with every real estate company out there, I'm just pulled up our site, there's 1,220 homes. And so you can probably see my problem. And that's just me. There's obviously 5,000 other agents out there that have a few buyers. Thankfully, we outspend the average agent 100 to 1 from a marketing standpoint. Our reach is global in regards to how we spend it. Our advantage is our business model. My business model allows me to outspend the average agent because we have a team of specialists in what we call buyer experts. They work with buyers only. We're at 20 plus people of those. We have listing experts, myself, marketing team, photographer, full inside sales and outside sales. And so the reality is we're much more efficient, which means we can afford to spend more money to acquire more clients, which means we drive more traffic into your property. And so if you want to know more about that, definitely reach out. Right now, real-time buyers on the site, Whitney from Myrtle Beach. We got Edwin from Brooklyn, New York. I got John from Cary, North Carolina. I got Caleb from Charleston, West Virginia. Nancy from State College, PA. I got Camden, South Carolina. Independence, Ohio. Pennsylvania. I got New York, Knoxville, Tennessee, Brooklyn, New York. They're pumping that New York money in for sure. And so what makes us different is that we have the buyers already. We can take that and get more eyeballs and more people, more traffic, which drives the property up. And this is more important than ever, right? I've said this analogy in the past, but I just want to reiterate. You could take a classic Corvette, put the classic Corvette in a Walmart parking lot, you know, the Lowe's food parking lot, put a sign on it, and you could probably sell it. But if you take the same classic Corvette and put it in every Corvette enthusiast website, every Corvette enthusiast magazine, and get tens of thousands of more Corvette enthusiast eyeballs on it, what do you think happens to price? Price goes up because demand goes up. And that's what we're able to do with our marketing. That's national and international. We have 61,143 buyers that are chomping at the bit to get your buyers. That's a heck of a lot different result you get than the friend of yours who's part-time selling real estate who puts a sign in the yard and hopes that someone sees it on Zillow. A whole different ball game in regards to how the execution works, especially how the team goes. So you owe it to yourself, your equity, to reach out and learn and see how the program works, because it will absolutely blow your mind. It's something that we've been able to really master right now all the way through COVID, but especially in how we can create that auction effect. A strategy we'll show you when we sit down with you to drive the price up to get the most amount of money. Because why is that? Well, that's what we're hired to do from our client, the seller, is get them the most amount of money for the home. And it comes down to the days, the way it's marketed, how it's marketed, all the way down to the minute. We've got that perfected. So if you want to know more about that, reach out and call us for sure. I want to get to a couple really good success stories. We're seeing this across the board. And this is something that's so important, where we're helping people get so much more money than they thought they could. And everybody goes online and looks and searches, but if you're not in tune with the fast pace of the market, you're not going to truly understand, and you may make a mistake. So big shout out to Andrew and Megan. They bought a home in Conway 2 years ago, but recently decided they want to be closer to the beach, right? Their biggest concern, though, was maximizing the equity, the amount of money they can walk away with, to be able to put down on a new home that's close to the beach, because they only bought 2 years ago. Thankfully, Andrew saw all of our billboards and our 600 plus 5-star reviews online, decided to give us a call first. Wasn't even sure if it was even possible. We came in, obviously, he told us what he needed to make sense. We came in and let them know you can get that amount, but we can get you a lot more money than that as well. I came in, we just designed a custom plan, launched a global marketing blitz, professional photos, virtual reality walkthrough. Within just a few days, with massive traffic, had Andrew and Megan an offer for $50,000 more dollars than what they bought their home for 2 years ago. And now they're moving on with maximum equity. They can buy the dream home they want close to the beach, and they're able to move on knowing that they got top dollar. And so that's an example of why you want to reach out, call us. Also, another example on the flip side, different way, is that David and Janie, they own a condo in Myrtle Beach. They've been renting for a while. They're just tired of being landlords, right? And so it put a lot of stress on them. They decided they want to sell. They want to find two things: the absolute best agent that could help them, but also an agent who can manage everything remotely because they don't live here. And so they did a lot of research us online, saw the 600 plus reviews, all the advertising that we did. We came in, launched our global marketing blitz, professional photos with massive traffic. Within a couple of days, had an offer almost at full asking price on the condo, and we priced that thing high. Now they can move on with maximum cash in their pocket without having to worry about being landlord. How much time we got?
About 2 minutes.
All right, so I'm getting this question a lot right now. About, the market going to crash, and it kind of gets that eerie feeling like it did before. And so that's one of the things that this is interesting to read about. And it says searches for the phrase "when is the housing market going to crash" are up 2,450% on Google the past month. And so I remember about a month or two ago, I was like, man, this is like being at the party and you've had a few shots and a few drinks and you're very close to passing out, and like the speed it's going, it's like if it keeps going, you'll be passed out in the ditch. That was a story my friend kind of talks about. But the reality is, there's some different aspects where a lot of people are saying that it's not. I've heard some other ones that say there could be something potentially third or fourth quarter. But basically it just talks about, what's happening is just a byproduct of, extremely tight market. And it just talks about how there's a lot less building that went on after the Great Recession during those years, because a lot of home builders got wiped out, right? They just weren't building the homes to keep up with the growth. Now a lot of people are growing up, moving out, having kids, starting families. And so one of the things you're running into is kind of seeing that same aspect, which is bringing that housing shortage. And so since we only got 1 minute, I want to get too deep into it. We'll talk about that next week's show for sure. There's just all these different pieces of data that just talks about what's happening, how to do it. Obviously, it's not sustainable because income's not going up that much. And so they do foresee that maybe leveling out a little bit. But also it talks about the mortgages now are different. In 2005, 4, 5, 6, there was no doc loans. Lending was a lot more just reckless, really. Now it's been tightened up. It's a lot different, but that's not, needless to say that there could not be some type of turn. If you're a seller and you want to take advantage of this, don't wait till it's too late. We're spring market. We're in a perfect storm here. Everyone's pumping money in from up north because they're getting out of there. Don't wait till it's too late, until something switches. Reach out to me now. We'll talk more about that.
All right, sounds good. If you have any questions about anything that you've heard, just reach out to Blake at Sloan Realty Group. Again, 843-808-SOLD, 843-808-SOLD, or go online to BlakeSloan.com, BlakeSloan.com. A lot of great info here, Blake. Talk to you again next week.
Yes, sir. I'll be here.
All right. More great information next week. You can always believe that, and you can always know that that's going to be happening. The Expert Advantage Real Estate Show with Blake Sloan.
Selling your home doesn't have to be filled with drama or having to pay hidden fees. And your friend Sean Hannity here to tell you, as an active investor, I firmly believe in working with the smartest local agents who sell homes in high volume, prepare your home to create the most demand, but it does go on the market to sell for the highest price. And don't fill your life with drama while you wait for your home to sell. When I want to know what's happening, there's only one agent I call. I'm talking about Blake Sloan of Sloan Realty Group. Now, every single day on average, he sells multiple homes and attracts new homes, which gets you early access to great homes before they hit the market. Now, he has so many buyers, he allows you to establish a deadline and a price acceptable to you. So if that deadline passes and your home is not sold, he will buy your home. And now he'll even give you the freedom to get out of your contract. But the fact is that's not going to happen. Don't believe the myth that all agents market the same way.